Welcome, everyone. We're back at it again on a Thursday, 8:30 Central Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate y'all joining me. I appreciate y'all continuing to show up for the community, the LaFred Effect, where we have real talk, go deep, and build forward. You guys, it's me today. Hello, hello, hello. Let us know where you from. Thank you for joining us once again. I appreciate it. We're still beginning. We took a week break, so I can imagine, people still, trickling in and, understanding that we back at it again. Hey, everyone. Hello. Welcome, welcome. My three amigos. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Yo, we are back at it again, and I want to bring up a subject to provide more clarity, right? So, our title is You Can Do Everything Right and Still Fall Short. Here's how to stay resilient, right? Right? You can do everything right and still fall short. Somebody said they ready to learn. They ready to learn about doing everything right. I mean, let me start off. Everything right is kind of like, theoretical, right? If you're doing everything right, you're perfect. So let's go ahead and make that clear. When we're talking about everything right, we're not saying that everything is like pristine. Because as humans, we're still going to make mistakes along the way. But, if you're being disciplined, you're having motivation, you're self motivated, you're continuing things, you're pushing the needle, people know that you're on top of your stuff, right? That's what we're talking about. You're killing it, in your category, and you're always learning, improving, asking for feedback. That's what I mean by everything is going as you intended, in your consistency, but it still didn't work out. Something like that, right? How to like overcome uh that happening, right? How to continue to move the needle even though you're doing everything right and don't get the results that you're looking for. How do you bounce back, right? So of course you guys know I'll start off with a story. It's my intention to go deep, be transparent and honest, create this real environment for us all to have deep conversations, and then I open it up for questions. So of course, I want you guys to, be engaged through the questions that you ask. I'm excited to answer and, help break any barriers that we need in this community so we can reach higher heights together. Thank you y'all for joining. Thank you all for joining. So definitely have your questions ready. I'm feeling more so around the 9:40 mark. I'm thinking, 9:40, 8:40. Go ahead and have your questions ready and I'll bring them on stage. Okay. Um, and that'll let me know, that'll give me a gauge. The pace of the questions will give me a gauge on how long we're gonna be here. I'm not forcing it, you guys. We show up at 8:30 Central Standard, 9:30 Eastern Standard. And based off of the energy that I'm getting, that kind of determines how long we stay on. Ideally, we end after about an hour, but we could drop off at any point, 30, 45 minutes. So just keep that in mind. Questions ready. That's perfect. All right. So a story about doing everything right and it's still not working out. Let's go with, so you can take this aspect on a career journey. You can take this on a relationship journey. You can take this on a real estate journey. And I'm choosing career. I'm choosing career. So and regarding everything right, I'll say I position myself very well to have a great career. And I'm doing well in my career. mid-career right now, and after 4 months, I've taken my first vacation in this new role. I work for aerospace and defense industry, for a defense contractor, and we're doing some big stuff. I work on the largest and highest priority program for Homeland Defense. So it's a pretty big deal. They talk about it on the news and everything. It's a development program, and I have a major role in ensuring that we protect our homeland through this product that we're creating, right? But I didn't just end there. It wasn't just I didn't just make it there magically. My career in general started back in 2018, post graduation. But I did have internships and co-ops that was positioning me for a successful career. So I'll say, starting with doing well in high school, going to a pretty good school that had a well, prestigious school. It was really good, and they had a really good engineering program. Setting myself up for success, doing the right things, making the right decisions, getting the scholarships necessary to relieve the burden from my family and myself on paying for college, doing everything. I mean, college was like right on point. I didn't have the highest GPA because I think I was, you know, doing too much, because in high school I was in a sport every season, and I was in a lot of extracurricular activities, and I was able to manage that very well while maintaining a high GPA. And I was thinking I could do the same thing in college, but college required more discipline and focus, and I still graduated with above a 3.0, but it wasn't as high as it was in high school. But neither here nor there. I did well. I graduated with engineering degree, 2 degrees, engineering and mathematics, my favorite subject. So I'm on the right track, doing everything, you know, as planned, and things are working out in my favor. I ended up getting the great opportunity after college, working in a pretty competitive industry, compensation wise. Um, and, I'll say I was doing everything right because I was showing up every day, um, looking to learn, eager to learn, asking questions and whatnot. And then after a year, I was let go. And I think that's an example of, you can be one of the high performers. You can like show your gifts and talents, and you can stand out amongst the crowd, and still that not be enough or what somebody is like looking for. And, the best thing you can do in that situation is ask for feedback. Some of it could be true and some of it could not be true, but there's truth in most of the time. Most people want to help lead people down the right direction. And so the feedback that I got from it was to take initiative more. Different ways I'm sure I did show initiative, but that was something that they wanted me to do better in. And I took that with me for my next opportunity, and my next opportunity didn't come right away. It was actually like 6 months later. So I was without um an engineering job. I was, not working in my field for 6 months. And, I didn't expect it to be any gap, you know what I'm saying? Like, after me being consistent about getting my education, and then me being consistent about showing up to work and looking to perform and learn the process and stuff, I didn't think that at any point I would have a gap that lasted 6 months, or just a gap in general. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens even when you're doing everything right. Some things just don't happen. Sometimes you're just not prepared for the results that happen, even though you're doing your best. So, stay encouraged, because things that happen are supposed to happen. Things you have no sometimes you just can't imagine what's going to happen that's going to lead to your next great move in life. You know what I'm saying? It's just being able to do your best and let God handle the rest, right? It's doing your best and getting what you can from out of that experience, learning what you can, connecting with as many people as you can, um, building as many skills as you can, doing your best so that if something happens, you like, hey, I did my best. I left it all on the table. I left it all on the field, and whatever happened was supposed to happen. And things are going to work out for me moving forward, right? Because you've grown, you're better during the time that you was in that position. You built skills, you become a more enhanced person. And then when it doesn't work out, that's even you're even greater than what you were before, the day before. Because when you experience trials and tribulations and you know that it's just part of the journey, then you not only did things go well because everything was going right, but then you experience the negative aspect of the journey, which is when it doesn't go right. And then now you're better equipped to be able to teach other people how you deal with it, to bounce back right when you bounce back. And you can learn more about yourself when things don't go right. What do you do in that aspect? So it's really just like taking a step out of the situation, out of like having sympathy on yourself and just saying, hey, what can I learn from everything that happens to me? It's like a movie. Like, what can I do right with what just transpired? Because it's not about what happens to you, but it's about what you do or what happens to you that makes the difference, right? So I lost a job, and after 6 months, I was able to obtain another role, right, within my field, as an engineer. And I took what I learned, right? I took what I learned from that previous experience and I implemented that. So, you know, taking initiative was some feedback that I got, right? And then taking initiative was what I wanted to like emphasize the most, that I'm a man that takes initiative. I'm an employee that takes initiative. And one of the examples that I did to take initiative was to set up one-on-ones with my manager right away without him setting it up himself. Like, I just was like, I know he's going to set this up. I know it's important for me to meet with my manager on a frequent basis in order to understand what to continue to do, what to start doing, or what to stop doing. Like, I understand how important that is. So I was pat on the back, congratulated for taking initiative in that aspect. And of course, there's always different ways that you take initiative, but it's really good to get feedback on something that you're working towards, right? And that was spot on, for someone to say that about me when that was quote unquote something that I can improve on in my previous role. So I was like, awesome, awesome. I appreciate that feedback. Always, look for that feedback. Like, you can ask for it. Always appreciate it when it's given, and believe that there's some truth in that feedback whenever you get, receiving it. And when you receive that feedback, you have a choice to accept it or run away from it, right? Because some feedback that we get, um, maybe it's totally wrong. Okay. But if you take what you can from it, and then you choose what to do with it, choose to continue to pursue that environment, or just remove yourself out of it completely. That's your choice. But be true to yourself and understand if what's being given to you as feedback is something that you need to implement right away and continue to grow, or if it's just basically you're getting that feedback because you're not giving the amount of effort in order to do better. And if you're not giving the right effort, you might not be receiving what you need from the environment. So you're holding back. And when you hold yourself back, that might be, when you need to, get out. The door is about to close on you, or you end up closing the door and going another direction. And that's okay. But just be true to yourself and understand what's needed in order for growth, right? What do you need to do in yourself? What do you need to accept? Because you're doing everything right? But you're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but you're doing everything right to the best of your ability. And you might feel appreciated, or you might not feel appreciated. Whatever the matter is, whatever door opens up, you continue to go down that door. If it closes, that's just part of the journey. It is what it is. Okay. So after I got a new role. I'm like really hitting the ground running. Like I'm taking what I learned in my previous role. I'm taking the feedback that I got, and I'm like, okay, let's kill it. Let's kill it. Let's crush it. Let's crush it. And then the next company I was with, I was in that role for almost 2 years. I was really enjoying it. I got my second feedback, performance feedback. The first one that I got for the previous company wasn't good. So this was like now the second company, this was like my first on point, meeting expectations, performance. I'm like, oh, I'm killing it. I'm doing good. I'm adding value. I'm improving the process, right? I'm building relationships. It's everything was going really well. And I'm doing everything right. And then my personal life caused me to have to navigate within my career once again. The first time I had to navigate was something that I couldn't control. I mean, I did my best, wasn't good enough, and they closed the door on me. Is what it is. You can't stay in somewhere that the door done closed on you. The second one, the door was wide open, but what mattered to me the most caused me to have to pivot. So that door I had to close. And then the Lord opened up another door. He had opened up several doors for me. I had like 3 different options. It was like back to back. Like I stopped working at one company on a Friday and then started at the next company on a Monday. It was just no gap in the career, no gap. And, it was just one to next. And, I got a promotion in my salary and I got a promotion in my way of contributing. I went from an individual contributor to a leader where I had multiple direct reports, right? So I was feeling really good, doing the right thing. I made the right choice to pivot. I went from one state to the next, and everything was really good. Everything was really good. I was doing everything right. I was doing the best of my ability, and and when I was doing that, more doors opened up. You know what I'm saying? And also, reason why some doors close is because you can't control everything. Like I do my best to control what I can, in my realm of influence, but your surroundings have their own decisions to make, and what decisions your surroundings make will have effect on you if your circles interlap. And so even though that's another example of doing what you can, doing everything right, but it's still not working out because somebody made a different decision that could negatively or positively affect. So you can't lose hope. You can't lose hope on doing everything right and then something not working out. Like I've never been a proponent of asking God why, like why me. Like it's just not that serious. It's like God is in control. He's not falling off his throne. Like everything is fine. You're still blessed. You know what I'm saying? Recently, a plane in India, I believe it was India, it was like over 200 people lost their lives, a plane crash. You know what I'm saying? Like that's out of their control. Things happen. And when we're able to talk about it, obviously, it's not to that extent. So, just like being, I'm not really into the news or anything like that. I don't really consume that type of material because I know it's out there. But just having an example of how things could be worse, then it kind of like helps you understand, don't pity yourself for too long. You know what I'm saying? Like people have lost their lives for different reasons. People have dealt with more challenging stuff than, losing a job. And that is one of the, challenging things of life, losing a job, losing a marriage, getting divorced, death. Those are challenging things, but there's always still going to be hope. Everything's not going to go right, but having that mindset, right, understanding that, and then being resilient when things don't work out is absolutely important, right? So I went about 10 minutes longer than I thought, so I kind of got on a roll there. So hopefully you guys are taking it in. I see some feedback saying the feedback drives initiative. Your storytelling, Sir LaFred, is brilliant. Following along, I appreciate it. Let me put my spelling of my name in the comments because I don't like when my name is spelled wrong. I appreciate the comment. But take your time to comment. Be very um, pay attention to details. It goes a long way. I rarely ever spell anybody's name wrong because it's that important. And you can see LaFred effect everywhere that you look. So I'm not really going to take that. Um, I'm not going to miss that opportunity to correct it because I don't want to see it again. But anyways, go ahead and send out questions. Go ahead and send out questions at this point. I'll take questions. I will take questions now. Um, I kind of stopped at once I got into a leadership role. But after that, it was like one, two. This is like my third position since when I stop the story. I might continue to be able to tell more of the story through these questions, kind of giving you guys the full story of my career. Um, uh, but let's see what you guys got here. Why do you think we often equate doing everything right with guaranteed success? Okay, that's a great question. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, so I think we get confused on doing everything right. Is because with guaranteed success is because doing everything right is as such is saying everything. So that's like you're not skipping a beat, you know. So in the back of people's mind is like, of course, you're not doing everything right because you're not perfect, but we actually try to measure ourselves up with being perfect. So that's a disappointment when something doesn't happen because if something doesn't happen as we intended, then this is if we know we're not perfect, then that means there's no guarantee, right? But the fact that we actually think that we can do everything right, that's why we say it. We don't actually weigh in on the fact that we're not perfect, that nothing is perfect as much. Because when we want to do everything right, then we think if we do everything right, which that doesn't actually happen, then we should have guaranteed success. And we kind of draw it out as such: do this, do this, do this, then you should be successful. But we have to take everything with a grain of salt and probably not even and use that term doing everything right. I don't think I ever like if I'm being serious about something in front of my manager, I'm not going to say I did everything right. I'm not that confident or I mean, I am very confident, but it's just that I'm not that unrealistic to say I did everything right. So why this? Why that? I'm just gonna be like, these are the things that I do well. These are areas I'm proving on. You got any feedback? How I can do things better? I'm never thinking I'm doing everything right. I can be honest. I can tell that to a million people. I don't do everything right. You know what I'm saying? And if I do say it, then I do expect people to be like, well, he's not perfect, so he doesn't mean that he does everything right. We should know that. Like that should be in the back of everybody's mind. Like anybody that comes in front of me and they say they do everything right, and I'm be like, yeah, and you're human and you make mistakes. So sometimes you don't do everything right, correct? And they're going to say yes. If they say no after I just put that in front of them and just like want to help clarify things, if they say no, then they're a liar. Nobody does everything right every single time. You can have a process, you can have rules, and they can be the easiest rules ever, right? But it just depends on the time that you're doing it. How often you're doing it, where you're doing it. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong. You don't always drive the speed limit every time. You know, you don't always uh you don't always do anything exactly the same at any point in your life. And that's just because we're not perfect. So, we just gotta like be true to ourselves, and read between the lines that we're all humans. There's is no perfect human being that's walking this earth. And so based on that as default, then we know that our success is going to be variable based off of us being human. you know um there's nothing guaranteed. unless something they say, hey, if you don't like this product, you guarantee money back, you get your money back. Okay, great. But even the money is probably more valuable or less valuable. So nothing's really guaranteed. And I mean, I know I definitely went too deep into that one, but just understand nothing's guaranteed. Have you ever had a moment where you did everything by the book and still didn't get the outcome you expected? How did that experience shape your mindset? It didn't affect it at all. So something that I did by the book, uh I mean, by the book, I'm not going to even assume I know what that means. Okay, but I'm gonna say, people say by the book means you just did everything as much as you can. You did everything right. I'm not going to take it like a religious point. I'm just saying, in general, anybody of any religion, any industry can say I did something by the book, meaning I did something right based off of guidance from a lot of intelligent people, and I continue to improve. I continue to ask myself if I can do anything better, reflect. And so they did it by the book. They did it the best they could. I'm gonna take it like that. And still didn't get the outcome you expected. Uh Hmm, yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. I want to take it. I want It's like I keep thinking relationship wise, that I want to take this question. And then how did that experience shape your mindset? Okay. I'm gonna take it relationship wise and keep it general. No like hierarchy of the relationship, just relationship in general. All right. Um so yes, yes. And then as far as how it shapes my mindset, I just know, like, just when it happens one time where I treated the relationship very respectfully and had really good intentions for the relationship and added value to the relationship and just wanted to see the relationship grow long term, and it ended. Let's say the relationship ended. um how did that affect my mindset? It's just like I just take what I could from it. Like I reflect, be like, what did I learn about myself? What did I learn about being with that person? It taught me that everything doesn't last forever, even though we might have intentions for it too. If people are being honest with one another, they care about one another, and then it just didn't work out. How does it shape my mindset? It makes me stronger. You know what I'm saying? It makes me just like more in tune with myself, understanding like how to build strong relationships, maybe like reflect on what I could do better next time. It strengthens my mindset. And I think that that's how people should take most relationships. Like they shouldn't have too many negative views after anything. It should be like, this happened, this is what I learned from it, and this is what I want to take into the next relationship to make it even better, right? But don't expect everything to happen. Don't be locked in on how it should happen or what should be the result of this or that, because anything can affect it, anything can change from a blink of an eye. Everything can just like derail, and it could be just nothing. It had nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? It could be something that happened to them, and then it could be something in their circle that happened and that affected them, and it just trickles down. And so we just have to understand, um it's not always something that we did, but it could be something that they're going through. And so just having a strong mindset that you're doing good, you're on the right track. You only can control what you can control. Just be consistent, and never give up. Okay, have you ever followed all the right steps and still didn't get the outcome you hoped for? How did you respond? So I kind of answered that question already. I just like do my best to respond in the most positive manner. um I think maybe I need to probably give a better, more deeper example. Um, So okay, let's say I've been in a car accident like 3 times in my life. The first one was not my fault. I was going straight, and when the light turned green, I began to go, and then the person on the opposite end, of course, was supposed to yield to me, but they ended up turning into me. And when things happen to me, I think like, what did I do for this to happen? It's like, Lord, did I do something wrong? Like, just like I think to myself, like, because everything happens for a reason. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to learn something from this, and just try checking myself. And it was not my fault. She turned into me. She was supposed to I was supposed to go straight, and then she come and turn after me, right? But she hit me, and I did everything right. I had my seatbelt on. On the report, it said I didn't have my seatbelt on, and that was the only reason why I didn't get like the greatest payout. But other than that, the payout was as good as it was going to be. I was safe. I walked away without a scratch. I was not hurt from the accident. I learned about therapy and or physical therapy and all that stuff. It was a good experience in a way. Um, so how do I respond? I'm telling you what's on my mind. I'm not mad at the person. I'm just like, what did I do? And then, turn out that I couldn't have prevented that. I was going straight. Maybe if I would have went straight faster, but I was at stop and I didn't press the gas hard. I just, at stop and then green light, and I'm going at a regular pace. But she thought she had the right of way. Maybe she wasn't in her right mind, and I got hit. And then the cop like wasn't too far away. It was maybe like 5 minutes later, and maybe by the time he got there, I was out of the car, and so that's probably why they didn't put that I have my seatbelt on. But neither here nor there. It worked out in my favor. Um, and let me see, the next car accident, I actually fell asleep at the wheel. That for sure. I'm not a night owl, so I was really doing too much in one night, a full day of work and then traveling back. I wasn't even like that far away from. They said a lot of accidents happen within 2 minutes from someone's like destination. So I wasn't that was like similar to my experience. I wasn't that far, and I hit a pole, and then the pole hit the windshield, and it hit the fender. So, pretty sturdy car, with Monte Carlo at the time, and I walked away without a scratch. But my insurance paid for the property damage and stuff like that. Um, I think I think I don't think I did everything right on that. Right, I was probably supposed to be in bed a little earlier. Um, I probably should have pulled over when I was too tired and take a little rest, and then get take my time getting there. Right, I think I was in a rush, and how did I respond? I was just thinking about. I mean, I was like, without a scratch or whatever. Might be the next day I felt a little back pain, but other than that, I was really good. I was really good. I was just thinking about how I was going to get from. I was on an internship. I was like, how am I going to get from A to B now that my car is messed up? So I was in Miami, Florida at the time, and I just started doing Uber, right? And then outside of work, I was like, okay, I got to get my car back operating because even after internship, I got to go back to Alabama for school. So I'm like, okay, let me go to the junkyard and get I don't know how I got to the junkyard, but maybe I was calling people and say, how should I go about this to get, my car back going, just to get it back going, not fix the fender, just fix the things that are necessary for me to get to A to B. So of course the windshield was replaced, and I got so the rim was damaged. So it was just like I just needed the steel rim and spokes or whatever, and then a tire, and then the fender was still messed up, and then my car was good to go. Maybe after maybe about 5 to 8 days or something like that, I was back getting to A to B. But that's what I was thinking about once it happened. A tragic car accident. By the grace of God, I was in one piece, right? Some people have passed away at the wheel and lost their life. Um, but I was protected, and how I respond is I think from what do I need to do from A to B, and then okay, accident after that. Uh, I think I just keep the same mentality. I remember one accident that I was in the right or whatever, and the person that was in the wrong, I just let it go. I just let it go, and nothing came of that. I was just like, it is what it is. I was in a rush to get from other place, so I was just like, don't worry about it. I'm sure that there's blessings in letting things go. So I reap that at some point. Let me see. I had another accident where a deer hit me. I didn't report it. I should have reported it, but I just was like concerned about my insurance going up. I just let that deer go. It actually, I actually didn't make it after that. The deer died. But I was okay. I was headed to um my job, but I was headed in at a time that wasn't normal. It was late. It was like early. It was really early, and so it was dark. So like I couldn't really see what was going on, and I probably was going too fast, and deer hit me. Um, but I just respond in the best attitude possible. That's exactly what I think. I just like do the best I can with the information I have, keep my composure, and think about what I need to do next. Really, that's how I respond to stuff that doesn't happen as I expected. Good question. Hopefully that helps. I mean, people get in accidents, and people freak out, right? And as a leader that I am, I'm just able to reflect, really, in the chaotic time, reflect. Uh, what did I do? How can I prevent this next time? And what do I need to do to get from A to B moving forward? Because life goes on. How do you keep showing up when the results keep saying not yet? This is very one-sided. The results aren't just saying not yet. They're saying something else too. You know, um, you got to enjoy the journey, and find out what you can take away from it. It's not just saying no. Whatever you're doing, at your first establish whatever you're doing, you're passionate about, right? And there's nothing you rather be doing with your time. Once you do that, you're not really concerned about the results at first. You got the mindset, you're taking the proper actions, you get feedback from people, and people that you trust and respect, right? And you think about where you were before, and you like, this is a better place, and I'm wiser, and I'm going to continue to learn and grow. There's people that's doing whatever you're doing better than you, learn from them. And over time, if you just keep working at it, it's going to get better, and you're going to find something. It's important to practice being grateful. Find something small that you can celebrate yourself. It's never going to just say the results are never just going to be one sided, not yet. It might be overwhelmingly not what you expect, but there's going to be certain things that you doing that you can be proud of. That it's how you look at it, right? And you might want somebody else that's optimistic to look at what you're doing, and congratulate you in some way. Like, it's never going to be one-sided. You shouldn't think like that's it. Starts with the mindset. So I've never experienced any results that tells me not yet. there's never been a time there's never been a time in my life that I'm doing something and I don't see experience some type of um positivity, right? And it could be in a lot of different ways. It could be like enjoyment. I'm enjoying it. It could be it feels good. It looks good. It's rewarding me monetarily. It could be something of the sort. It's gonna be something there more than what I've even mentioned. It's gonna be something that I can pull from the results and say, yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And if it's not enough, you are free to do something different. We have that freedom. If it's not enough, maybe you haven't given enough time. Maybe if you're expecting some results, you should be more realistic, and allow time to have its perfect place. Um, and I think that would help. This question tells me that the mindset is not the right mindset. You got to go back to the mindset and start there, and to know that you have to be patient. You have to just start, and even though it might not be a pretty start, you just start, and then you find something that is going to continue to encourage you, to keep you motivated, and and then you'll always be able to like just keep building bit by bit, step by step. All right, hope that helps. All right, next question. What are some common emotions people feel when they fall short despite their best efforts, and how can we navigate them? Okay, so I felt some of the deepest emotions that I felt when something didn't work out. That yeah, I'm going to go deep with it. I'm going to, because there's a lot of different things that don't work out. Like maybe losing 50 something dollars that don't work out, and it doesn't cause me to go as deep into emotions. So I'm talking about something that didn't work out and it really altered my life. Some of the negative common emotions that people feel, or that I felt, was helpless, right? Feeling ultimately helpless is one of the deep feelings of it falling short of something, right? Helpless, um feeling discouraged, discouraged in a way. It's kind of like you're probably not going to do that again. Like, if I lose $56, it's not that I'm not going to do it again. you know I'm going to try again, because it's $56 not going to change my life. um so somebody that's discouraged, and they might not do whatever they did again. It's just like, they're helpless, they're discouraged, um they're disappointed, right? They thought that maybe they were better than that, better than the results that they got, and now they're disappointed in themselves or somebody else. Um, that's three. I don't know how far you want me to go, but I do got maybe two more. They feel helpless, discouraged, disappointed, ashamed, right? Ashamed. You know, maybe they told somebody about what they was going to do, and now since it didn't work out, it didn't work out. Now it's not like they just stopped talking to that person. At some point, that person is important in their life, and that person is going, that person is going to ask for an update, or you're just going to give an update, and it might be something that you feel ashamed about, right? Because you thought it was going to happen this way and it didn't. So that's four. I'll leave it with four. Those are some things that I felt on a deepest level. Maybe even guilty, ashamed, guilty, right? Uh, uh, Disappointed, discouraged, and hopeless, right? Those are like five big ones. How can we navigate them? So, how did I navigate out of those deep feelings? I leaned on my support system, right? It could be tangible and untangible type of support system, right? So for me, meditation, prayer, calling my friends and family that I trusted, like, encourage me. Like, we all make mistakes, we all go through something, so everybody will be able to resonate with me. And when they do resonate with me, it confirms that they're supposed to be in my circle. So a lot of my people that's in my circle I've known for over a decade, right? And it's more than five people that I've known for over a decade that are in my circle, and I appreciate them. But I lean on my support system, you know, prayer, meditation, friends and family. Sometimes you can have a random conversation with a stranger, and it's okay. You ain't got to like tell them exactly all the details, but just to get something off your heart. Like, when you make a confession, and just to be able to continue to confess and get it off your heart to even someone that's not biased, right? It makes a difference, right? How do we navigate it? Like, these are like legit ways that I do it, how I do it. I take care of myself. I'm a proponent that, when these things have happened, like negative emotions, um, this is after I've done a lot of stuff for people, right? And this is going to be something that, like, I experience those emotions, and I still want to do stuff for people. So I'm a natural giver before and after something happens, right? But I can't neglect myself. I got to take care of myself, because when I take care of myself, and I treat myself, whether if it's a pedicure, whether if it's a haircut, whether if it's going out to eat, whether if it's a trip. When I like take my time and take care of myself, I'm able to rejuvenate, right, recharge, and then continue to show up as I have been to people, or even better. You know what I'm saying? Because you just never know how you can grow from, you know, when you pamper yourself, when you take care of yourself. You never know how you can, show up even better. So it's important to do that. If you don't do that, I think is you just derail. You stay in those same emotions and you just don't grow. It's like post traumatic stress or something like that, and it still carries you. Like um nobody should want to experience negativity. Like we naturally experience negative situations, right, from our surroundings, stuff that we can't control. So either way, I mean, everybody in the world experienced COVID, right? So no matter what, there's going to be something negative that people have experienced. So we don't wish that on nobody. And we don't like force negative things to happen. They're just going to happen. They're going to stuff is going to happen out of our control, but we need to know how to navigate them, right? Um, and so those are the things. If you don't do some of the things that I mentioned, you could have other things like reading, listen to music. It's a lot of things that you could do, but it's called taking care of yourself. If you don't do that and you experience negativity comes to all, I believe you just derail. I don't think you continue to get better if you don't like take the time to take care of yourself and your mental health. If you don't do that, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. I just don't imagine you being able to find positivity after being hammered by negativity over and over and over again. Don't expect people to make your life better. You have to do it yourself. And that's basically what I'm trying to say through the things that I do. I do it. I take initiative. I take responsibility on making sure I experience the positivity that I need to get back on track, right? And to continue to show up in the greatest aspect. All right. All right. Hope that helps. Next question. All right, looking at the time now, I'm surprised we got to this point, you guys, because I'm gonna be honest. Somebody was like, "You going live on your vacation?" Like, yeah, that's what I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna show up for you all. I enjoy what I do. But I'm saying the 45-minute mark came and went, so I guess we're going for a whole hour. I appreciate all the questions. I hope these responses are helping you all. I hope I'm going enough in detail to help you resonate with me. That I've experienced tough things. And I was thinking that I did everything right, and it still didn't happen. I'm very a strong proponent on planning things out, and I like things to go as planned, and they do majority of the time go as planned and smooth. But there are those occasions, more than I would like, that it doesn't, and I'm still resilient. And I want that mentality to be common within this community. That no matter if you're doing everything right, which is not true, we were making mistakes, but we're on the same page that when you do your best, right? When you show up is the best that you can, it's kind of on the lines of doing everything right. And when everything is done right and you still don't get the results, it's okay. You got another day to make it right, to get it right on whatever level that you want to get it right. Like, you're getting it right ain't the same as my getting it right, but as long as you're happy, you good. You know what I'm saying? Don't force somebody else to think that you're good is good. They either you either going to choose to improve, or you're going to be like, maybe you don't have, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep getting better and better. Be humble, be vulnerable, and say, okay, I thought I was doing it right, but there is still room for me to grow. How can I do better? Right? I really want whatever this is. I really want to do well, and I just need more. I need more guidance. What advice can you give me? What feedback can you give me? And that, like, who couldn't work with that? It takes a level of, humility, and meekness to be able to do that. But when somebody show up like that, who wouldn't want to work with that? Especially if the person cares. Like if the person wants to see you be successful, that's all they need. That's all they need to hear. And I mean, I think a lot of people that I've been around want to see me win. And a lot of people want to do well. So you shouldn't have a hard time getting feedback from people. It is a gift, but you shouldn't have a hard time getting feedback for people. And you just got to be willing to ask for it. Okay. Can resilience be developed, or is it something we're born with? Okay. Absolutely, resilience can be developed because somebody that doesn't give up, right? They have the mentality of never giving up. Something's going to happen. It happens to everybody. It rains on us all, the rich and the poor, the strong and the weak. So when something happens, you recover, you're going to be stronger because it's just like a muscle. If you build it, it's going to tear, and you give it time to rest, it's going to come back stronger. You can do more reps or lift more weights. And that's the same thing with resilience. It's in the mind, right? So when you experience something traumatic and you take the amount of rest, you know, to reflect, to get better, right? You take that time. When you show up to that obstacle, you've already seen it before. If it's the same exact, a lot of times it's not the same. But if you've already seen it before, you're gonna know you're gonna like be better prepared. It's not gonna affect you as hard, right? No matter what. If it hurts, it hurts, but it might not hurt as much as it did before. And if you really took your time to reflect, you was probably getting counseling and somebody gave you some advice. So along the way, you've learned new skills so that when that happens again, you not only get punched, but you might be able to like absorb it better or maybe punch back, figuratively speaking. I don't promote violence. You might be able to, absorb it better and last longer in that difficult situation. It might still take you out again. Prime example with trading. It might take me out and I need time to reflect, but I'll bounce back with more rules, better strategy, more accountability, and whatnot. Um, I was trying to avoid talking about trading some way, somehow. I was unconsciously doing it, but it came up anyways. I took a break a month from trading and now I'm back in it since yesterday. Yesterday, I followed my rules 100%. Psychology, I have psychology ratings. It was 100% or 99%. I made sure it wasn't 100 because nothing's perfect. So it was 99% psychology and, small win. And, it's not about the wins or the losses, but following my process. So I did really good. Today I didn't follow my process as much. Maybe going back at it, I was like really laser focused and holding discipline really tight. And then maybe I got lax the second day, and I had like a 78% psychology rating, and that's just like following my process. And I had a loss. So if I see the pattern of low, high 90%, it looks like it's going to yield good results. Great. If it doesn't, it's nothing perfect. But I'm creating a system for myself to track performance and, be able to take information on how to improve. And it's a constant feedback loop. And I'm very detailed with that. And I can always be more detailed. But through the over 10 years I've been trading, just taking notes and journaling my trading journey is a step in the right direction, especially at the level that I'm doing it now. And then accountability, I'm just like talking about things that I'm doing differently. And you always have to, in order to like develop resilience, you just have to do something different, right? It's not something that you're just born with. I mean, we're fragile babies. I mean, some babies might show some resilience of don't expect much from a baby. You know what I'm saying? It's a baby. Give it what it wants. The baby's gonna cry when it's hungry. The baby's gonna cry when it's uncomfortable, and just love the baby, right? But when you're not a baby no more, you're gonna develop resilience. And if you don't, you're gonna be eaten alive. And in this community, I'm gonna help you think about how to build resilience. And first, something's going to happen. Rest, get the information, hang around the right folks that are going to help speak life into you, build you up, learn some skills about how to handle that better. And then you're going to go through it again. And then, you're going to probably do better and keep going. And then the next challenge is going to come. You might even push past that because it's not as challenging as before, or you can relate to it and see how your strategic skills, your communication skills have improved, and you just keep going and then next something else happens that's more challenging, and you take that time to rest and whatever, but you just keep going up. And that's the resilience, building resilience. That's how it looks. All right. It might even come down, and you just might be it might all the resilience, all the situations might come hit you at once, and you might, take a detour down the wrong path. You might feel a little lost, but you can always recover even from that. And that like even might propel you even further, from recovering from that deep. Sometimes we go into deep, dark places. But yeah, to answer that question, you can definitely build resilience, and you're not necessarily born with it. I mean, you might have genetics that says that my mom got through this, my dad got through this, that's a good starting point that you most likely can handle. You got what it takes to deal with this and that as well. Especially in probably in particular category like entrepreneurship, you know what I'm saying? Like that might be, I might have an advantage over other people because both my parents love entrepreneurship. They want to be their own boss. And so I naturally take on challenges in some of the same categories. Um, X is a thing, but you can build resilience for sure. For sure. Next question. This is our last question. I really appreciate you guys with all your questions. Hopefully, this information has pushed you in the right direction. Hopefully, you can take something small. I don't care if there's only one person in here. I love what I'm doing. I'm glad we consistently had about 6, 7 folks in here. And once again, we do have a community link where you guys are able to follow up with me or just like collaborate with the team on what we talked about, right? And it just like creates more of a community where it's not just showing up at this point where we have fellowship, but it's like we can continue this on a daily basis. Like literally, there's no limit of how many people can be in this community that I'm talking about now. It's a sign up sheet. Let me see. Uh, I didn't post it, but if somebody can find it and post it for me while I'm on, see, share your referral. I don't want to go too much into it, but it does exist, and hopefully you all signed up. If you haven't, that community is for overtime, right? You might be struggling with something and you want like some personal assistance. That'll be a community for that, right? We're building a community here where we can be open with one another, but this might be something private because we do experience life, and we don't have to have 100 people that we share everything with. A small community of 3 or 4 people where you're able to be as transparent as you feel comfortable doing, and really be able to tackle whatever you're going through to help push you in the right direction as soon as possible. Because time is of the essence with getting through stuff. Like, people take as much time as they need with certain things, but believe time is of the essence for everybody. Take as long as you need, but know that you're getting behind in certain ways if you don't get over it. I'm not a proponent of staying in one place for too long. Actually, I don't like talking about the past too much. I only talk about the past to catch you up, to be relatable, but I'm always really thinking about where I'm at now and where I'm trying to go. That's me. And that's what I want the mentality of this community to, take on holistically. Because it's just so much that, we have in front of us that we can accomplish and things that we can do for other people. So last question here. What role does self-worth play when results don't reflect our effort? How do we separate performance from identity? Don't put it on that. Your value is much more important than your performance. This is going to be our first time going over an hour. I know we're probably going to be at an hour and 5 minutes, and it is what it is. So hopefully y'all bear with me on this one. I think I answered a little too many questions, or I probably rambled a little too much. but it's all good. All right, I'm gonna take my time with cool. This link is in the comment section. Okay, cool. Joining now. Appreciate it. All right, all right. Okay, let me take my time with this question, then I'll wrap it up. What role does self-worth play when results don't reflect our effort? Okay, those are different. We just tie them the same. Self-worth is already there, right? You actually do have a number on your head in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like your life is actually worth a certain price, right? And it's not tied to your effort, right? They price us in. You don't have to like feel like that price is real or whatever. But we do have a particular value that just by being born and like growing up to a certain age, like you're this important to the world. And that's not even after doing anything. You can basically had done nothing. You did nothing to be born. Your parents did that, right? The Lord did that, right? And you just like naturally just eat and sleep and talk and then and play, right? And then now you're 10 years old and you have a value before you even did anything. Who's expecting anything from, someone's, 1 month to 10 years? Not expecting much, you know. Mainly what I expect is like whatever my child will learn. I just like, okay, well, I know you know that, and I'm just gonna like expect that you do that. But I'm not expecting high performance, right? It's not the tie to self-worth. I'll take my time with my children, right? Um, so you already have a value before you even perform. How do we separate performance and identity? Do it now. Do it now. Except that you are not tied to your performance, right? This is something performance is tied to, hey, I hired you to do something. I need you to do it right for the success of this company. It's not really um on you. Performance is not really on you. We learn everything that we do, either from trial and error on our part or from teachers and coaches and managers that we're surrounded by. That's how performance is built. It's not your performance is not on you. Your self-worth is something that you have really no control of to begin with. You can improve your self-worth in a way based off of how you think about yourself, based off the skill set that you take on, based on the experiences that you have, the people that you met. You can improve your self-worth in a way, right? That's when you know who you are and in Christ, like in whatever religion that you have, when you know who you are, you improve your self-worth. But you still don't have to do anything. Your performance is like kind of measured on what you're doing towards something, right? And your performance can change depending on the perspective of somebody else. But your self-worth is what you kind of project towards people, and they need to just accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like you say your self-worth, and somebody might have a different perspective, and you can agree with them or disagree with them. You might like disagree with them, but then maybe ask why. If that person matters to you, then ask why and how I can actually get the self-worth on a level that I perceive. But this could be without a job, this could be without making money. You know what I'm saying? Like your self-worth is your own category that you can continue to build, right? But it's already at a certain level. Your performance, if you didn't have any impact, if you didn't have any training, right, any guidance or whatever, your impact is always going to be low, but your self-worth is already starting higher than performance. Nobody is expecting anything from a baby, but their worth is high, right? So you can always improve your performance, you can always improve your self-worth, but it's already of high value. Okay. um we're created in God's image. If we continue to go the path of being more like him, we just continue to improve in that area. But it's not based off your performance. They're kind of on different categories, is what I'm trying to say. And so your identity, you might like translate your identity match with performance, or your identity on the self-worth. Your identity should be closer this way than it is based off your performance, because your performance could be perceived high or low based off of whoever you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? You could be a really good basketball player, but when you compare yourself to LeBron, then your performance is not that good. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a really good basketball player, in the high school arena, and then you go down to elementary level to perform, your performance could be 100%, 90%, because you just like your competition is just not up to par with you. So you see what I'm saying in regards to how the self-worth is not even related to how you perform. You know what I'm saying? Because you just be in a different category that allows your performance to be even higher. Your performance, your self-worth is already going to be stable somewhere else. Build on that separately, and your performance can just vary depending on who's looking at you, where you're placing yourself, stuff like that. Identity should be closely related to self-worth, right? It's not going to be based off performance at all. Maybe your identity, based on your identity, you actually put yourself in a different space that is more suited with your identity, so allow you to perform better, right? Because if you're performing on something that doesn't have anything related to your identity, right? The LaFred effect is spot on to my identity, right? Um, and based off of like how we're performing, Cam Newton channel was crushing it compared to this, right? But we're on different, like based off of like me being a new YouTuber, um, doing this for the first time, doing this like whenever I can, maybe like 5 hours a week kind of average. Like I've hired a lot of people to where I'm not doing as much myself. So, maybe only putting like 5 hours into the LaFred effect. I think about it a lot. So it's probably 5 to 10 hours. But I work a full-time job that's like 40 hours, right? And some people might be doing YouTube like 100%, right? So, my performance um, is probably good based off of where I'm at with this journey. You know what I'm saying? It could be really good based off the data that I'm getting from analytics. It could be like, it's really good for somebody that just started and only putting in this amount of time and stuff like that, right? But it's like it's really my performance is whatever. My identity is based off the brand. I'm like, doing really good, but I don't relate it to. I don't look at the numbers and say, oh, it's related to my self-worth. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to do this and still have high self-worth, how I feel about myself. And if people didn't show up, that doesn't mean I think of myself less. You know what I'm saying? If LaFred effect, if that name, the logo, whatever, wasn't as good, that doesn't have anything to do with my net worth, my self-worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can just keep getting better at something, right? But don't tie it to your self-worth. Hopefully that helps. And so it's kind of like the self-worth, performance, and identity can kind of be different, but I feel like the identity is closer to your self-worth. And as you understand who you are and what you bring to the table, that self-worth won't change as much, and then if you continue to understand who you are and what you bring to the table, maybe you will align yourself in a better environment that will promote you because it values who you are and what you bring to the table. And then you will be happy with your performance because it's showing you better results and it's leading you down the level of success that you so desire for your life, in order to be able to spend more time with your family, be able to buy more things, to be able to give more, to be able to retire, to be able to travel, right? Like however you relate, the results that you're getting, you relate it to success that you want to achieve. It could be on different level for different folks. But first it starts with the mindset. So you guys, now I want to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Of course, we just got back at it, after a week. So I feel some rusty, even from, technology last week to me going way over 60 minutes. But Another thing is I've been talking a lot on my vacation, and that's like been the most enjoyable part of my vacation. And that's probably why I'm long-winded now, because this is what I've really been doing, and I just got a lot of time. But I'm gonna be respectful of y'all time, and I'm gonna go ahead and end pretty soon. You know, it's a LaFred effect where we have real talk, we go deep, and we build forward. Until next time, stay focused, stay grounded, and above all, stay real. Peace.